Now, as I was saying, we're going to get into a bit of a debate now while we look for the Inkahumas. And I know a lot of people were quite upset about the hole in that male lion's face. Now, male lions have had holes in their faces for millennia. It is nothing unusual. It is very normal for lion behavior. They're always full of holes, scratches, bumps, bruises. Now, moving on with that, and I know we've all witnessed the Styx cubs sort of almost disappear. There's only 2 left at the moment, and there is the start, in our opinion, that some of the Nkuhuma cubs are starting to show signs of mange. Now comes the conundrum: do we interfere? And unfortunately, the answer is something that I think a lot of you are not going to like, and the answer is no. Now, there's a lot of different reasons for that. Oh, we're back with our buffalo herd with the wounded female. Now, the same argument would be: do we interfere with this buffalo? She's got a wound. It's obviously bleeding. It's probably painful, but all of a sudden the buffalo doesn't quite tug at the heartstrings like a lion cub does. So it's a very difficult thing before where to interfere, where not to interfere. And 9 times out of 10, not interfering is always the right option. This is an open system. Animals can come and go, and they die and live, and we'll discuss a bit more about the mange. I was hoping that the lions might be following said buffalo. Let's go carry on. We'll sneak past the buffalo. Carry on with our talk. So there we go. Martin Wilson, we're on topic for what you're wondering about. Now, sorry. Okay, so as we wonder about, let's turn the radio off. This is a serious conversation we're having now. We'll look out for yellow bulldogs. Okay, no, they're on that. Okay, so as I said, a lot of people will want to interfere. Now, we always look, and it's very difficult, especially if you spend a lot of time in an area and a lot of time with animals, and specific animals like we do here. We obviously form a connection, or think we form a connection or a bond with these animals. I'm afraid the animals don't share that same bond back with us, specifically with the cats. And now, if we were to treat the Nkuhuma cubs, or the Styx cubs, it's actually a very traumatic process, and you probably find, just in the treatment, you'll probably have a couple of cubs die. Now, it would be required to dart the cubs and the adults every day for 3 days, and have to bathe them, physically bathe them. Now, of course, forget the cost and the amount of man hours and labor, etc. Just think, you have to every day for 3 days. Now, when darting cubs of any kind, or young animals of any kind, and by no fault of the vets, and when they dart, a little bit of wind might puncture a lung, because they need to use those darts are actually quite serious. So on a cub, it's always very risky to use a dart, and so there's that whole side of it as well. But now, so let's say hypothetically we dart all the cubs, we wash them, and we've got to do follow-up treatments for 3 months after that, once a month. And then the cubs reach adulthood, but then in the next drought, mange comes again. What do we do now? Do we do it all over again? Because now as adults, those cubs are going to die. If we leave them alone, because mange is a very, very area-specific and time-specific thing, and it's probably come across because of the drought. Now, we have no control over the weather, so it's not a human thing that has led to mange. Mange has definitely not been brought into this area by domestic livestock, as some people have said, oh, well, can't we pretend it's been brought here by domestic livestock? It hasn't. It's natural. It's been here for hundreds of thousands of years, and it is a way of nature controlling lion populations and predator populations, specifically after a drought. Now, you've noticed that after a drought, it's your impala, your wildebeest, your zebra, and buffalo take a bit of a knock. But the predator population goes up. Now, mange comes out in a drought, so does anthrax and certain things. Now, those are little controlling agents that nature has set in place. So the lion populations don't get too big, etc. So you've got to remember that everything's interconnected, and we tend to micro-focus. And also, if we take lions, for example, in the Greater Kruger, now, lions are under threat throughout Africa. Don't get me wrong. In the Greater Kruger, they're not. It's probably one of the most stable meta-populations in the world. 2.5, estimated 2,000 to 2,500 lions in the Greater Kruger. The loss of 16 cubs from 2 prides, on the big scheme of things, not that important. On our little micro scale of things, very important to us, of course. Now, going back to the cubs, so they say with this type of mange, there's probably about a 20% survival rate in the cubs. So, only 20% of the cubs that get mange are likely to survive. However, those cubs that survive now carry on a very, very useful genetic bit of information. They are more resilient to anemia, which is the main reason that they die. They are more resilient to those mites. Now, if those cubs had been about a year old, probably 90% of them would survive the mange. It's only sort of under 6 months that the mange really makes an effect. The adults from the Styx Pride, the Birminghams, all of them are almost 99.9% certain to survive mange. It's only those young cubs that are probably going to expire if the mange gets too bad. Now, if we get more rain, that changes. The mange mites won't be as prolific, and the moist weather will help control them, bring them down. So, as again, we tend to micro-manage in our minds, and we get invested in these animals, and we want to help these animals. But we've got to stop that sometimes. You've got to take not one step back, you've got to take 100 steps back and look at it from the big picture of the whole ecosystem, not the tiny 5,000 or 6,000 acres that we drive around in an 8.5 million acre area. I know this could be difficult. I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me, but and you're probably not going to like me for saying this, but I'm actually completely agree with the management's decisions and things like that, not to treat any of the lions that have picked up mange at the moment. Now, of course I'll be sad if the Inkahuma's cubs get really bad mange and they get ill and they die, but one thing, I've been very lucky in the way I've been brought up, and I've been brought up in the bush, and death is part of life out here, and it's very easy for us to start anthropomorphizing and getting like very humanly involved in it, and it's not. It's difficult. It's always a difficult one. It's going to be a difficult one, but we just got to understand that there is nature. The whole argument again with that buffalo or the mites. No, why don't we just exterminate all the mites? But surely the mites have a right to live just as much as the lion cubs. That's something to think about, ponder on, while we search for the Inkahumas. So no tracks coming out here. So there could be, I think that mating pair might be in the drainage line behind us. So I'm going to check up towards the Buffelshoek boundary. I'm going to go back towards Gallagher Pan where the little tracks were, and I might take a little stroll, see if we can find them on foot. But so far, no tracks coming out here. And I mean, if you want to discuss the mange issue further, by all means, send through a question to the email address questions@wildwhooop.tv or hashtag Safari Live. And if there's anything specific you'd want to know, I'm very happy to help try explain it better. And if I didn't explain it better, also let me know and I'll try to do it again.